Alright, so I'm just going to ask you some questions and I just want your initial reactions to them, alright? Okay. Would a film involving cyberbullying themes appeal to you? Why or why not?
It would appeal to me. It's a key topic in the modern day society. However, I've never directly been cyberbullied. I know it's an increasing topic on young people's minds today, and it is increasing over time with the expanse of the internet and technology.
Okay. Is cyberbullying something you feel that needs more exposure?
Oh, incredibly. It is. I don't think it can ever be stopped. Just how it's in human nature for some people to not, although they don't realise it, to be cruel to their peers. It causes no end of devastation, which scars people for life occasionally, and some people feel like the best way to confront this is to raise awareness of it. However, whether that will actually stop things, we don't know. There's no way of really stopping what is in people's nature of doing.
Okay. What would you want to see in a film that has a cyberbullying theme?
I would like to see something that really hits home to not only the people who can relate to being bullied, but to raise awareness of the people who are doing it to what they're actually doing. Showing people the consequences of things they could be saying that they may take as jokes, such as leading to things such as suicide, which occasionally happens, could end up actually stopping some people. Don't know if it will stop everyone, but it would. The harder hitting it is, the better.
Okay. Do you think that a film that is both from the point of view of the bully and of the victim would be effective?
Yes, I do. The point of view of the bully could be. I think that a lot of it's a chain. Some people bully because they've been bullied themselves. Some people don't. Some people don't know they're doing it in the first place, and some people are just. I was about to say dicks. Some people are cruel. There's a lot of to and fro between everyone. It's not. You can't really say that people don't react to it, and some people. So you don't know what's going on in an individual's life. Who knows what situations have caused someone to branch out, and sometimes the internet and technology is the only outlet they have, and not everyone always has a good day, and they branch out other people.
Okay. Would a film that has two endings in it interest you?
Yes, that would work quite well with showing both sides of the person, especially showing the similarities between people. Very much in modern day, people are objectified as in two separate genres of people: the ultimate good and bad, like good and evil. It's not the people who bully aren't particularly bad people. They might have just had a bad time. You don't really know. People who are being bullied don't know, they might have provoked it in some way, shape or form. You don't really know, so that definitely help show the actual meaning of both sides.
Okay. Do you think that the film's content should be tame or explicit? Explicit meaning involving themes such as suicide.
Explicit at points, but life isn't constantly explicit. Life is, and the stuff that happens, it seems unprovoked. So showing things calm with points of explicitness could really show the shock of how it is. I mean, it calm in the fact that a lot of people don't tend to talk about it, and they tend to ignore it until one day it can either turn to come back at the guy who's been bullying, or it can really, really have a bad effect on the person who's being bullied.
Okay. If you personally were making this film, where would you set it and why?
Normally these sort of films are usually set within a school basis, but these days it happens all around. There's not particularly. You don't need to have a bully at school now for people to have this disadvantage. You now have people being at home who have never met strangers before having this. It could literally be anywhere. It could be anywhere at all. Usually, it could just be some kid at home goes on something and finds a bully. It's not only just social networks now. There's forums and there's channels like YouTube and stuff like that. People get people who are abusive.
Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to tell you some statistics from a study that was conducted in London. And then after I finish telling you all the statistics, I just want your immediate reaction onto whether the theme behind this film, the ideology behind it, is a good idea.
Okay.
Nearly 43% of kids have been bullied online. 1 in 4 has had it happen more than once. 70% of students report seeing frequent bullying online. 81% of young people think bullying online is easier to get away with than bullying in person. Only 1 in 10 victims will inform a parent or trusted adult of their abuse. And bullying victims are up to 9 times more likely to consider committing suicide.
I think those facts there sort of sum it up. It does, something needs to be done about it. I'm not at all surprised by those figures, really. People do, I'd say they're obviously all correct. I think it would be good if all those things featured in a film should really show what it is, that people do think it is easier for people to bully and be bullied now on the internet, and it really does affect people terribly.
Okay, thank you. Okay, first question. Would a film involving cyberbullying themes appeal to you? Why or why not?
Not to me personally, because I think we're past an age bracket that has to deal with that sort of thing. Anyway, if we do, I think we know how to cope with it now. But I think for a young audience, definitely, I think that's something that really needs to be tackled and would be a good subject to use.
Okay. Is cyberbullying something that you feel needs more exposure?
Yes, definitely. I think we do have a lot of exposure already talking about it, but there's not, I don't think we get a lot to do with how people cope with it, why it affects people. We just get told who to ring, who to talk to, and that's it. There's no other means of help, really.
Okay. What would you want to see in a film that has a cyberbullying theme?
The different ways, because I think people mostly go, oh, it's all by text, but there's so many ways now. I mean, I've heard of it being used over Facebook, Twitter, Ask FM, which is a massive company now that it happens a lot with, maybe email, everything. I think the different formats you can get cyberbullying in would be helpful.
Okay. Do you think that a film that's both from the point of view of the bully and of the victim would be effective?
Yeah, definitely, because I think showing what the bully might have gone through as well helps, because they might have been bullied themselves. You don't know what's happened to them. I think still make them look like the bad person and make them say like, well, what they did is wrong, but this has happened to them, so give them a moment to take away from it, and also not feel sorry for them, but just give what they're due to them, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Would a film that has 2 endings interest you?
Oh yeah, that'd be cool, because I think then what, like the audience choose, like which.
Well, the idea that I had is that I film what would effectively be the first half of this film, probably a little bit more than a half, but the first chunk of this film, and then at the end of that bit is the point where they diverge.
Right.
And then you can go off in one direction, or it can go off in the completely opposite direction.
Yeah. No.
And then
yeah.
I ask my audience to choose which ending, whether they want ending 1 or ending 2. I don't give them any more details, and then it just goes on like that. But I will eventually release both endings. But
I like that idea a lot, because I think, yeah, it just gives you a chance to see. If they're completely different, it gives you a chance to see what effects it can do and what you can do if you do the right thing or the wrong thing or whatever. I think it just gives people a wider scope of what could happen.
okay. Do you think that the film content should be tame or explicit? Explicit meaning involving things and themes like suicide and things like that.
Personally, I think it should be explicit, because it will just make more of an effect. You don't want to be like, oh, and then something happened to Tommy. And I think you want to really put across to the person that's watching it and make them realise how awful something could be. You need to be explicit to get your point across sometimes.
Okay. And the last question, if you were making this film, where would you set it and why?
I'd probably set it in a bedroom, like, to show, and maybe in a school playground. I can imagine it being in a school playground, and just to show the contrast between it's not actual physical bullying anymore, nothing happens in school, it's when you get home the stuff happens.
Yeah.
And maybe in a park, I don't know, just stereotypical kid in a park thing going on, but yeah.
Okay. I'm going to read you off some statistics now, and after I read them all, I want your initial thoughts on whether this film is still relevant. Nearly 43% of kids have been bullied online. 1 in 4 has had it happen more than once. 70% of students report seeing frequent bullying online. 81% of young people think bullying online is easier to get away with than bullying in person. Only 1 in 10 victims will inform a parent or trusted adult of their abuse. Bullying victims are up to 9 times more likely to consider committing suicide.
Oh my goodness, yes, make this film. No, that's terrible. I think definitely put those in as well, because that's really hard here. I can't believe that. My goodness. Yeah, no, definitely, it's really relevant. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, James, yeah.
Alright.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Okay. Right, first question. Would a film involving cyberbullying themes appeal to you? Why or why not?
If it was taken out of the box, yes. If it was kind of the generic, kind of like social message of like, don't do this because it's bad, or it was like a kind of campaign type deal, I don't think I'd really like enjoy that. I'd enjoy something which was kind of subliminally like promoting not to cyberbully.
Yeah, okay. Is cyberbullying something you feel that needs more exposure?
Perhaps with the advancement of technology, yes. But I think it's kind of one of those things that is happening, and people know it's happening, but maybe it doesn't get enough recognition that it might need, as technology is advancing lots and the internet is becoming this huge thing, and you can do whatever you want, you can say whatever you want on it, and there's no like there's no reaction from a real person you're going to get. You can't see the emotions of a real person, or you can't see a reaction of a person. So I think that changes a lot, and I think that's something that the whole world kind of has to keep up and evolve with this advancement of technology, and the ability of like you're having to adjust to like what you say on the internet. You have to think about kind of before you put it, because you don't know who's going to read it and you don't know who it's going to affect.
Okay. What would you personally want to see in a film that has cyberbullying themes?
Just something that's different. Just something that I think I'd like to see, like I said earlier, the like subliminal like message.
Yeah.
Perhaps it not being such like a direct thing of, oh, this is cyberbullying, don't do it. And like it's something that makes the audience go away and think, oh, that's cyberbullying, and then perhaps they could go on the internet and recognise this like cyberbullying.
Okay. Do you think that a film that is both from the point of view of the bully and of the victim would be effective?
Yeah, I think because you never know that person. You create a username and this like whole different like ego on the internet, because you don't have to be yourself. That's the good thing about it, but it's also the internet's kind of biggest downfall, because you don't have to be yourself, yet you can choose to be who you want, and that could be a totally different. That could be like the nastiest person in the world.
Yeah.
But then you don't know who that bully is, and I think perhaps that to bully someone, I mean, it's been like found that usually a bully has some underlying issue at home or with parents or something like that, and I think that kind of gets ignored.
Yeah. Okay. Would a film that has 2 endings interest you?
Yeah, because I think that it would make the audience think more, and it would make the audience want to perhaps think why there is 2 endings and not just this one conclusion. It leaves it more open, or open to interpretation, not open in a bad way.
Okay. Do you think that the film content should be tame or explicit? Like, explicit meaning involving things such as suicide?
I think with the subject of the internet, it should be explicit, because the internet is explicit. You can, if you want to find it, you'll find it on the internet, and I think that the whole thing of sensory and not being able to see stuff, you kind of, when you're growing up and like being a kid, you get told that these things are bad, but then you're only told that and then through the internet you can actually find out, is it bad, and then people can take things out of context and be like, I don't think that's bad, and then things get out of hand.
Okay.
But yeah, I think explicit.
Yeah. If you personally were making this film, where would you set it and why?
I think I'd set it in a normal environment, like a environment where a computer or the internet would be used, and I think that can be pretty much anywhere, because you can use the internet on a phone, you can use the internet on a laptop. I think it should be set in one location, because I think that takes away from what the internet is, because the internet is this broad place. I think if you set it in one location, it would kind of distort the whole like message of the, because you can be anywhere when cyberbullying is happening. With actual bullying, you'd have to go into the environment in which you're being bullied in. With the internet and cyberbullying, you turn on the laptop and it's there.
Okay. Thanks. Right. So, I'm going to ask you some questions and I just want your immediate responses to them, alright?
Alright, that works, yeah.
Cool. Would a film involving cyberbullying themes appeal to you? Why or why not?
It wouldn't usually appeal to me, because these are the sort of things like, well, I'm more of a sort of action, horror sort of guy. While I do get invested in emotion and stuff, and I can understand that cyberbullying would be able to create this, I wouldn't particularly myself go for it, but I can understand why people would enjoy it.
Alright. Is cyberbullying something you feel that needs more exposure?
It does actually, because a lot of it goes on. Like, it goes on almost everywhere. People are bullied, blackmailed, threatened. It just happens everywhere, and it's really, really under the radar and needs more attention.
Yeah. Alright. What would you want to see in a film that has a cyberbullying theme?
I'd like to see... Are you trying to make a campaigning sort of film, or are you going for like a proper narrative sort of thing?
Well, I want to kind of put the two together, but I don't want to make a campaign film that's preachy.
Yeah.
I want to make a campaign film that had, well, not a campaign film as such, just a film with the cyberbullying themes that represents it.
Alright, I feel that the idea of that film, I'd like to see how it really affects the victim, like properly convey the emotions if you can, even maybe try and put in why the bully does it, like is something happening to him, for example, something like that.
Okay, that actually leads me into the next question. Do you think that a film that is both from the point of view of the bully and of the victim would be effective?
I think that would work quite well, because basically the audience would have be able to understand why a bully does what he does, because he might have his own problems and you don't know that, right?
Yeah.
Getting the feeling of the victim out will be really, really effective, because that will make them understand the victim a bit more on what's going on in their lives.
Alright. Do you think that the film content should be tame or explicit being involving things and themes such as suicide?
Oh, definitely explicit. If you try and skip around the point by being tame and stuff, then it's just not going to have the same effect, is it? You've got to go explicit, full on, just shock the audience.
If you were making this film, where would you set it and why?
I reckon I'd set it in the victim's bedroom. Like, they come home like every day, sort of log on or whatever, see whatever hate they're getting, and then show them show the audience how they deal with it, things like that. I'll do it like that.
Okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to read you off some statistics from a study that was conducted in London.
All right, go for it.
And once I've finished reading them all, I want your response to whether you think that the film is still something that's needed.
Go for it.
Nearly 43% of kids have been bullied online. 1 in 4 has had it happen more than once. 70% of students report seeing frequent bullying online. 81% of young people think bullying online is easier to get away with than bullying in person. Only 1 in 10 victims will inform a parent or trusted adult of their abuse. Bullying victims are up to 9 times more likely to consider committing suicide.
Yeah, it's definitely needed, really, because those statistics are freaking crazy. Like, why are people not talking about it? You need to sort of like feel like you have the courage to be able to tell someone if you're getting bullied, if you see someone getting bullied. We should be more a helpful society, like actually try and help each other rather than just sort of sit by and watch someone get bullied and end up doing stuff to themselves, and it's just not great to see, really.
Alright, thanks.
No problem.